Once upon a time, there lived a king who had 12 beautiful daughters. These 12 princesses shared a grand and splendid room in the royal castle. The king loved them dearly and protected them with all his heart. At night, he never allowed them to leave their chamber. But every morning, something strange would happen. The princesses' shoes were always completely worn out, as if they had danced all night long. Day after day, the king had to buy new shoes for them. Yet the mystery continued. No one in the castle could understand how the shoes were ruined in just a single night. At last, the king announced, "Whoever can solve the mystery of my daughter's worn-out shoes shall marry the princess of his choice, become my son-in-law, and inherit the throne after me. But he will have only 3 days and 3 nights to uncover the truth. If he fails, he will spend the rest of his life in prison." Young men from the kingdom and even princes from distant lands came forward to accept the challenge. 4 days, they guarded the princess's door at night. But none of them succeeded, and the shoes kept wearing out. Finally, a kind-hearted young man decided to try his luck. On his way to the castle, he met a frail old woman who looked very poor. "My dear child," she said softly, "I am hungry. Would you share a piece of bread with me?" Without hesitation, the young man gave her all the food he carried. The old woman smiled gratefully, for none of the others before him had been so generous. In return, she handed him a shimmering cape. "Take this magic cloak," she whispered. "When you wear it, you will become invisible. At midnight, put it on and enter the princess's chamber. You will discover the truth. But beware, do not drink what the princesses offer you." The young man thanked her and hurried to the castle. When he arrived, he told the king he was ready to solve the mystery. On the first night, he stood guard outside the princess's room. The eldest princess came out, holding a glass of lemonade. "You must be thirsty," she said sweetly. "Please have some." Forgetting the old woman's warning, the young man drank it. Almost at once, he grew drowsy and fell fast asleep. The next morning, he awoke in panic. "I was supposed to wear the cloak and follow them." On the second night, another princess came out with a glass of juice. Thirsty and weary, the young man drank again. Once more, he fell into a deep slumber. When he awoke the next morning, he remembered the old woman's warning. "Do not drink what the princesses give you." He realized they must be putting a sleeping potion in the drinks. That day, the king sternly reminded him, "2 nights have passed. If you fail tonight, you will spend your life in prison." Determined, the young man prepared for his final chance. That evening, the youngest princess came out with a glass of orange juice. This time, he accepted it politely but poured it away when she left. He stayed awake, alert, and strong. At midnight, he put on the magic cloak and became invisible. Quietly, he slipped into the princess's chamber. To his amazement, All 12 sisters were dressed in magnificent gowns, their hair and makeup perfect, and on their feet, brand new shoes. "Let's see if the guard has fallen asleep," one princess whispered. Another peeked outside, while a third pressed her ear against the wall. The young man, thinking quickly, began to snore loudly. Satisfied, the princesses went ahead with their plan. The eldest pushed her bed aside and clapped her hands 3 times. Instantly, a secret passage opened beneath the floor. One by one, the princesses descended into the hidden stairway. The young man followed silently. Down they went, step after step, until they reached a forest filled with silver trees. The young man broke off a branch and tucked it into his cloak as proof. Soon they came to a river where 12 boats shaped like swans awaited them, each rowed by a prince. The princesses stepped into the boats, and the young man secretly climbed into the last one. "This boat feels heavier than usual," muttered the prince, "as though another person is aboard." "Don't be silly," said the princess. Across the river stood a grand, glowing castle. Music poured out from its halls. The princesses hurried inside and began to dance with endless energy. Their shoes quickly wore thin. The invisible young man, now very hungry, slipped a slice of cake from the banquet table. The youngest princess gasped. "My cake, it's floating," she cried. "Stop imagining things," her sisters scolded. The young man also stole a golden cup, hiding it safely in his cloak. All night, the princesses danced until dawn. Then they returned the way they had come, across the river, through the silver forest, up the long stairway, and back into their chamber, where their shoes were once again in tatters. The young man, however, now had the truth. The next day, the king approached him. "Your time is up. Have you solved the mystery?" "Yes, your majesty," the young man replied. He explained everything he had seen: the secret passage, the enchanted forest, the swan boats, the princes, and the dancing in the glowing castle. At first, the king doubted him. But when the young man presented the silver branch and the golden cup, the king knew he spoke the truth. Keeping his promise, the king allowed the young man to choose a bride among the princesses. He chose the youngest one, who had been the kindest of them all. Though the 12 princesses were displeased that their secret was revealed, the young man and the youngest princess were married with great joy. And together, they lived happily ever after.